blow anybody out.
You're right.
And I'm jonesing for it. And the Bengals game and the Giants game, that's not enough. I want to see them blow the doors off the Cowboys.
It would feel good. Everybody will feel better about themselves if that were to happen. So we'll talk Eagles-Cowboys all day today. We had a wild game last night, Thursday Night Football, as advertised between the Ravens and the Bengals. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes because the end of the game was criminal and something needs to be done. But let's start with an Eagles discussion today, and let's focus on Jalen Hurts. Are you ready for the Jalen Hurts show? And I ask this question because we kind of asked it before the season started. Before the season started, Connor, we knew that Jalen Hurts was going to have to take a step forward in terms of his leadership. We knew that Jason Kelce was gone. We knew that Fletcher Cox was gone. We know the stories that we read throughout the entire offseason. Forget the Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts beef. There were reports from people that were with the Eagles, either players, coaches, higher-ups, because that was reported as well, that they were upset with Jalen Hurts and his lack of leadership last year, and they knew now that Jason Kelce and Fletcher Cox would be gone, that he would need to take that step forward. And then there was all the Eagles fans would go, hold on, don't put too much on his plate. He's still so young. No, he's the freaking franchise quarterback. Year 5 in the NFL, year 4 as a starter, and getting paid $250 million. It's time for him to take a step forward, not just as a player, but as the franchise quarterback. And franchise quarterback, they have a lot of other roles than just dropping back and throwing the football and reading a defense. So we asked that question before the season started, and there were some people that were hesitant because they didn't want baby Jalen. I don't mean baby Jalen as in a little baby. Everybody's baby, everybody's favorite son, Jalen Hurts. They didn't want to put too much on his plate, which is ridiculous. He's a franchise quarterback. The season then starts. It wasn't great. 2-2. Right before the bye week, he has the other weird comment about Nick Sirianni, and you're going, oh, my God, are we really about to do this again? And then the bye week happened. He comes out. He says great things about Nick Sirianni. He plays his best game of the season in terms of 0 turnover-worthy plays against the Cleveland Browns. He then plays an even better game against the New York Giants. He plays an even better game against the Cincinnati Bengals. And my God, was he dominant last week against the Jags. If it wasn't for Nick Sirianni's boneheaded decisions, that game's not even close. Jalen Hurts has turned everything up a notch since the bye week as a player. But Sal Paolantonio, I heard this on the overnight driving in this morning. Sal Paolantonio talked about Jalen Hurts and how he has changed since the bye week, not just as a player.
I think the tone is being set more by Jalen Hurts than it is Nick Sirianni. And I think the tone of the relationship between the locker room and Nick Sirianni is being set by Jalen Hurts. You know, he has emerged since the bye as totally the CEO of the team. And I am really impressed with the way he has played. And they've got the most explosive plays in the passing game of any team in the National Football League. So I think it's Hurts more than anybody else.
And Sal Pal is extremely connected, and he normally knows a lot about the head coaches. For crying out loud, he used to drive in with Doug Peterson. Remember, he did a couple of those drive-in with Doug Peterson specials. He knows what's going on with the head coaching staff in Philadelphia. He's saying it's the Jalen Hurts show. Are you ready for it?
Absolutely. I've been ready for it.
Damn
We've
right.
been asking for it. Since he got the payday that he did, it's needed to be the Jalen Hurts show. Now, in Kansas City, because that is the paramount of quarterback play in the NFL. I know Patrick Mahomes hasn't had his best season, but he's always going to be that guy that you compare everybody else to. If Andy Reid didn't exist, I don't know what type of team they are, but still, if it wasn't like a Hall of Fame level head coach, that is the Patrick Mahomes show and only the Patrick Mahomes show. In
Correct.
Buffalo, it's not the Sean McDermott show.
No, it's not.
It's the Josh Allen show. These great teams with great quarterbacks that are supposed to compete for something are led by those quarterbacks. So, yes, I'm very ready for the Jalen Hurts show.
Now, it's great to see that we're getting it. And this is something that I've been wanting, right? Like, I've been saying it since before the season started, Connor, and you as my witness, and Brendan, you as well, because we've all been together with John since the show started in March. I was holding Jalen Hurts to a different standard this year. I was not going to hold him with kid gloves like a lot of Eagles fans were doing. The first 4 weeks, he deserved every bit of criticism that he got. Why? Not because of hate. I know there's some people that probably have hate in their heart toward Jalen Hurts for whatever reason. But it was because I'm holding him to a different standard. So when he is throwing 2 to 3 interceptions a game, or turning the ball over, I should say, 2 to 3 times a game, even in games that they won, You let other teams stay in it. That Packers game, they won. Great win in Sao Paulo Friday night. Still can't have all those turnovers. The Falcons game, can't have those turnovers, can't have bad throws. He has gotten so much better since the bye week. The bye week has been the best thing for this football team on a million reasons. Injuries, guys got healthier. I think the offense has changed since the bye week. Lane Johnson has literally said to reporters that he and a couple of his other offensive linemen had to go to the coaching staff and demand more of a run-happy offense. Kellen Moore seems to have mainly all of the fingerprints on the offense at this point. And Jalen Hurts, I don't know what happened. I'm looking forward to the report coming out one day about what happened during the bye week. There was some talks about Jalen and Nick Sirianni breaking bread during the bye week and basically doing like, hey, we can't keep going down this path. And it's been so much better. This is the standard that I've been holding him to, and he's finally really showing it, or at least I finally heard it from Sao Paulo.
So now the question is this the standard going forward that we see executed? Not just what we expect, because this is always what you're going to expect from a quarterback that gets paid the way Jalen Hurts does, that can play the way that Jalen Hurts does, that can show the leadership that Jalen Hurts most of the time does. Is this who he is now?
Yeah.
You think so?
I think so. I don't know what happened with Hurts and Sirianni. I really don't. And it looks like they have fixed some things. I don't think Hurts has been a problem with teammates other than his teammates wanting him to maybe express more emotion, express more leadership. I think it was the Falcons game, the game where he spiked the football and he got the penalty for the delay game, which was a horrible penalty. But I think that was kind of his I'm back moment. Even though they lost that game, I think that was kind of his I'm back moment. Like, all right, I'm going to start showing some emotion again. We're seeing him smile on the sideline again. We're seeing there was the Eagles do such a tremendous job miking up players. That Nakobe Dean interception that he had to seal the game against the Jags, there was a video of Jalen Hurts going up to him after the game and telling him that was such a great play. I'm so proud of you. And I'm like, you don't normally see the offense and the defense mingling on a sideline, right? He goes up to Nakobe Dean talking about how proud he is of the young player that a lot of people have doubted. Like, I'm starting to see leadership qualities on the sideline as well that we didn't see in the second half of last year. And I think this does continue to move forward. Do I think he's Patrick Mahomes? No. Do I still want to have a run-first offense? Yes. Do I still want him to be a game manager? Absolutely. Again, not in a negative way. I just don't want him looking for the explosive play after explosive play after explosive play. If something is there, take it. And I think Kellen Moore helps him with that. I think this new mentality helps him with that. It is the Jalen Hurts show. I've been ready for it, and I'm starting to see it.
Yeah, it's nice to be at this point where we're having this conversation because it wasn't even really the Jalen Hurts show in 2022 when he had that MVP caliber season because he wasn't getting paid that way. He wasn't being expected to be that guy. That was found money.
Yes.
That's when you reach into your pocket or your jeans when you put them on and you haven't washed them a time or two and you got a $20 bill in there. It's like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's nice.
Wasn't expecting this. This guy's the paycheck. If he's not here every weekend or every other weekend, depending on how you get paid, you're going to get upset and you expect it. You expect him to be this type of guy now, and we're at a point where we haven't really seen that since he got the payday that he did. Not that he's been terrible, not that he's been a poor leader, but there's another level you get held to when you become this guy for a franchise, and frankly, Jalen Hurts has fallen short of that a couple times over the past year and a half, and it's nice to be where we are now.
And Salciunas, I got a quick stat for you. You talked about taking it, what the defense gives you. Since the bye, there's been 4 games. There's 29 passes he's thrown 10 yards or more. He's completed 20 of them for 5 touchdowns. So he is taking what the defense is giving him.
Yeah.
He's not taking deep shots down the field when it's not there.
The 50-50 ball. Like, I know we obsess over that sometimes, like if you have an A.J. Brown type receiver. But A.J. Brown's missed some time. Like, find the open guy. It's okay. You don't... It's like the baseball terminology. You can't hit a grand slam with nobody on base, right?
It's factual, yeah.
Stop trying to throw the home run ball. Stop trying to throw for a touchdown every single play. Take what's given to you. I love 15-play, 7-minute drives because it gives your defense a breather. It takes the soul out of the opposing team. Like, this is not rocket science. I think the NFL went too far in one direction, and we're starting to see the Eagles get back to what I believe is proper football, especially when you have a beast of a running back in Saquon Barkley. So when I asked the question today at 610-632-0975, are you ready to say this is the Jalen Hurts show? this question goes to two parties. Because there are people that doubt Jalen Hurts. They read all the stories in the past. They're not necessarily a fan of his style of play. They think he still has some issues that teams will catch up on. They're not the biggest believers.